everyone. Welcome to Sports Cabri. As part of the BGT series, we thought we'll have a little bit of fun. And yeah, for that little bit of fun, we're going to create a combined 11 of India's all time and Australia's all time 11s. And in doing so, we're going to ensure to keep it to players we've watched. So I'm presuming that'll be post 2000s. And yeah, here we go. I think we've got a huge pool of players, I'm sure a lot of interesting discussions that we can have. Yeah, just to throw it open quickly, like first off the bat itself, opening spots, conversation there. You guys, so I'll let you know my opening pair and the reasons for it, but I'll let you guys go first and tell me who your openers are. Rishi?
I think off the bat for me, either like see, I'm. It's difficult for me to choose between David Warner and Matthew Hayden because both of
Mm-hmm.
them like have I think Matthew Hayden was like the equivalent of say Virendra Sehwag for like the Australia, like
Yeah.
aggressive on the front, taking on bowlers, and I think he's had both of them have similar averages also, and like to be honest, even Virendra Sehwag for the same reason. But the only thing is, I wanted to have a little bit of balance and not have two aggressive openers. That's probably why I'm not able to decide. So I think right now I'm edging a little bit more towards Matthew Hayden, if not the other two.
Oh, okay. Hayden and
Hayden, you know what? Yeah, let's just, we have enough batsmen, so I think Hayden and Viro for me.
so I would have gone Hayden and Sehwag too, but because of the way I want the team to look, I'm going to say Hayden and Rahul Dravid to open the batting. But yeah, uh, yeah, I'm going to say Sehwag and Dravid to open the batting, not Hayden. But yeah, Adi,
Hmm.
what do you?
I mean, but dude, to be fair, like I think we have to take in the fact of like players like Sachin, Steve Smith, Virat, etc. We can't omit them out of a starting 11 because if we're all going to put only one player of these three at number four, I think we'll end up omitting Virat, etc. over like certain players in the batting lineup. So I don't know how we're going to do that. But again, if you're only keeping it down to pure openers who opened, most of the time for Australia, for India, I would obviously keep Hayden. I don't think you can take him out. With him, me personally would go for Sunil Gavaskar, because just for the fact that,
No, we're keeping it to
No,
players we've
okay.
watched, bro. We're going to keep it to
no,
players we've watched.
bro,
I
still,
know. I mean, bro, like that, you have cases
No,
for Don Bradman,
yeah, I
Yordi,
was gonna say, bro, the innings I
Simon
remember
Don
so
Bradman
Watson,
is
well.
my
like
number
whoever you
three. I'm
want,
telling you, he's
like
going to be my number three.
Oh
who?
yeah, the Ashes innings, right? Like
Yeah,
the
I've
one
seen
hundred.
it. Have you not seen
Don,
those reels,
Oh
bro? I've
wow!
stop
seen
it,
those Sunil
stop
Gavaskar
it.
reels, those Don
Yeah,
Bradman
yeah,
reels.
yeah.
Like,
Amazing,
bro,
bro. Wow, we've seen
amazing
so
player. I
much
can't
Sunil
take them on, bro.
Gavaskar in our life. But yeah, no. So, uh, I think so. It's down. I think we're happy to have Sehwag in there because clearly, I think changed the way Test cricket was played. Averaged 49, didn't make the runs that say like a Tendulkar, but has 8,500 runs. Much better average than Warner. Warner averages around 44 in Test cricket, and yeah, I think just again the conversation is always Hayden averages 50, scored fewer runs, but yeah, but for me, just the personal thing with Sehwag and the way he played was just awesome. I think Hayden very similar player, so I think it's hard to pick between one of both of them. But I'm saying only Rahul Dravid next to open the batting because he has opened the batting for India in Test cricket, and I don't want it to come to a situation where I have to pick between Dravid and Ponting, and that's simply it. But for me, but yeah, I'm happy with Sehwag and Hayden, and we can discuss uh, as we go on. I don't mind Hayden and Sehwag at all. Who's number three for you? This is a tough
Hmm.
one. And like if I have to pick between Ponting and Dravid, I'm still going Rahul Dravid. But I wanted Ponting in the team, and that's why I had Dravid.
See, to be
Uh,
honest,
So you're
it's
choosing Ponting over Dravid then?
I'm choosing Dravid over Ponting. I just wanted Ponting in there. But if he doesn't make it at number three, I have no problems in not. That's the thing, right, bro? Like there is no way like you can leave out both Ponting and Dravid because incredible batters. At least Dravid was the
At
ultimate team
least,
player. No, I'm saying at least Dravid was the ultimate team. Like he's the KL Rahul, like the better KL Rahul of his time,
oh
right?
my God,
You want,
Raj, no, stop it, bro, stop it.
bro?
Listen,
Listen, hear
listen,
me
I'm
out.
I
not,
thought that's
Bro,
a
I
he
flex,
think,
bro.
wanted
He
to
thought
open the
that's a
batting, bro. As in,
this guy
he
is
wanted,
just
bro.
flogging
He
Dravid
has
in.
done everything, bro. He wanted to open. You want him to open the batting. He did it. You want to play number three, which he did for the longest time. He did it. You wanted him to play number five. He did it. You wanted him to keep wickets. He
The
did it.
difference
He
was,
did
bro, I get it,
everything.
but don't compare Dravid and Rahul, man. Come on,
No, I'm,
seriously.
I'm just saying. I'm saying in the sense that he was versatile. He didn't have any problems with playing a certain position. With that, an average of 52. With that, 13,000 test runs, a higher average than Ponting. Bro, there's no way I am looking past him for number three over Ponting. Uh, but I would like to have both, and that's why I'd sacrifice one of the openers to have Dravid there and then Ponting at number three.
No, to be honest, like now that you said it, I think having Dravid opening with Hayden would give a little bit more balance also. So
Balance also, yeah,
I
yeah.
don't mind that. And bro, you can't really look past Ricky Ponting's like captaincy.
Captaincy
His
is
CV
number.
pretty much speaks for himself. Like,
Yeah,
and Rahul, yeah, just to be clear, if Ponting was not there, who's going to be our captain of this side?
Rahul Dravid. Like obviously, bro. Like what
what
do you even?
over
The
Virat
only
Kohli,
Indian,
brother.
the
This
only
guy
Indian captain to win an away series in England, bro. Like we haven't won since, and bro,
This is
he
India,
so
Australia.
what?
We were
Virat was the first
yeah,
captain to win in Australia. Like,
Kohli
what's your point?
literally won
yeah,
one
against
in
against an
Australia.
Australia team that we know did not have Steven Smith. We did not have David Warner. We went to England against a full strength England team and still got the job done under Dravid. So I'm just saying that's what it is. But it is what it is, right? Like he did it in England and he did it
Oh,
for so long in Test cricket.
so in that case, are you only going to put one test victory as a benchmark for a test captain? Like, are you saying just for the fact that Rahul Dravid
No,
did
I'm
one
saying
feat?
if Ricky Ponting was in there, then Rahul Dravid. If Ricky Ponting is there, I'm more than happy to say Ricky Ponting is the captain. I
No,
have
but
no problem.
picking Dravid over Virat Kohli as a test captain.
I wouldn't have Virat Kohli in my team. So I'm not picking Virat Dravid
In
over.
interesting.
Yeah, yeah,
In test
100%.
cricket in Australia when we're playing a BGT.
No, I'm saying no, just in Australia all time. Yeah, even if we were just playing in Australia, I would still have Dravid heaps
You
of
would have
time.
Dravid over
Yeah,
Kohli in Australia.
yeah, bro. Like the double hundreds, the hundreds in Australia speak for themselves. I for itself. Like I
Of
don't need
Virat
to
Kohli.
of Rahul Dravids. Yeah, like I don't need to speak for his performances in Australia. Right, like it's not like he was a bad player in Australia. He was Rahul Dravid. I think was on the flip side probably India's best player overseas. Hundreds in England, hundreds in South Africa, hundreds in Australia,
Yeah,
West
and
Indies,
same for
anywhere,
Virat
bro.
Kohli when he played for India. I think he was India's only player batting in Australia. Like the entire
No, but
entire
I
15
just
years of
can't
us
look,
playing there.
bro. I just can't look past the numbers, bro. It's
Are you saying
insane.
But
Rahul
I
Dravid
think me and Rishi can, in my opinion. Like
Sachin Tendulkar?
No, I'm saying yeah, so Sachin Tendulkar is obviously at number four. I don't even think that's
No, no, no,
any
no.
like
You said India's best batsman overseas was Dravid. You're saying Sachin is like he was better than Sachin overseas.
I think so like at least towards the dude, you see, when if you really I don't know the numbers, I don't know how many hundreds have scored overseas or whatnot, but Dravid's overseas record really good. I don't know what Sachin's is to be fair, but I'm saying to
so
put
let
my
us
at three, I would definitely have him because of his overseas performances. It's really
So
good.
he's like his
okay,
like
so
again.
just want to say Rahul Dravid performance in Australia. He's played 16 matches, 32 innings. He's scored 1,166 runs with an average of 41. Okay.
Okay.
Sachin is the
Sachin
India's highest scorer against Australia.
Sachin has
Not in my team. I'm not
1,809 runs with an average of 53.
I am not talking about Rahul Dravid versus Sachin Tendulkar in Australia. I'm talking about Rahul Dravid overseas
But
versus
you
Sachin
literally just
Tendulkar
said Rahul
overseas.
Dravid was a better performer in Australia than
I
Sachin
never
at a
said
point.
that. I said Rahul Dravid overseas has been the most consistent Indian player. And I never
But
said
overseas,
Australia.
but we're talking
I'm
about
saying his
India, Australia
Australia.
combined in Australia, right?
I'm saying his performances in Australia are enough to suggest a place for him. I am not
But
even
isn't the
questioning.
point of
I'm not
this
saying Sachin versus Rahul Dravid in Australia. I'm saying Sachin versus Rahul Dravid overseas everywhere. For the guy to score 400s or 3 400s in 2011 when the rest of the team wasn't doing anything, I don't. see any other player who has done that for India. So, but yeah, that's just
I
me.
mean,
But
Virat Kohli did the same thing in Australia in 2013, 2014, right? So it's not like
yeah, so
Dravid
yeah,
is
yeah,
the only guy who's ever
yeah.
done it.
Again,
And
I'm saying
again,
England tougher conditions. You
but
can't.
we're talking about
It's tougher
India
conditions,
Australia
much
combined
tougher.
in Australia. That's the whole point of this video, right?
Yeah, yeah, so
We're
I
not.
agree. I agree. I'm not having who was not going to have Sachin Tendulkar in the team.
So I
So I
would
don't.
have Sachin and Virat in my team over Dravid if you're playing
No chance.
in Australia.
No chance.
Dude,
No
are you
chance.
trying to tell me you wouldn't choose Virat Kohli in Australia? And in an India versus Australia game, like bro,
In an all-time test level, no, like because I want that player at number three who will take the blows, or who that one player who will stand and play for the
then I
long
would
run.
push Pujara for that fact. Like I would also have pushed Pujara in Australia. He's
I
been
would
one of
say
the best
Dravid
players.
is a more
Bro,
accomplished player than
Pujara.
Pujara. Way,
Okay, tell me
way more
one thing.
accomplished player.
Okay,
Yeah.
please tell me one thing.
Mm.
How
Yeah.
many Test series victories does Pujara have in Australia versus how many Test series victories does Rahul Dravid have in
That is, you
Australia?
look at the teams they played. You can't just say, oh, look at how many test victories these guys have. Oh, that Sachin Tendulkar doesn't have any. So you won't put Sachin Tendulkar in the team.
No, we're only comparing Pujara versus Dravid
No,
right
I'm
now.
telling you. So then Virat Kohli has more. You'll put Virat Kohli instead of Sachin Tendulkar.
I would rather have both of them in my team. If I'm playing
No,
a
no, but
Test
would you,
cricket,
if it came down to between Tendulkar and Kohli, just because Kohli has more series win, would you have Kohli over Tendulkar?
me personally, I would put Kohli over Sachin in a Test game in Australia just for the fact that I've watched Kohli more. That's the sad reality. Like I
That's a
just
different
in
story.
my
See,
era, I
that's a
watched
different
Kohli more. I
conversation.
would have a biasness
But
towards Kohli. Like that's my whole point.
that's a completely different story, right? Like we're going away from the whole
But
thing.
bro, I've
You're
seen
saying I've
Kohli do.
watched him
Bro,
more.
there is a factor. I can't deny the factor that the only player apart from Sachin Tendulkar, the Australians have ever respected and like glorified an Indian player ever are two players, which is Sachin and Virat, and I just can't take them out. Like for me, I can't take them out from anything. Like you look at the way they spoke about Kohli when they came in 20 when he was coming there in 2018. I don't think they spoke about like that like when Rahul Dravid came in town. Only guy they
Oh,
spoke about was Sachin.
just because we don't have social media doesn't mean they did. And if you do go back to
Yeah, but
um,
I'm again
if
talking from
you
what I've
if
seen,
you do
right?
watch, like if you heard Steve also speak about Dravid, like he says the same thing, that it was a nightmare to see him bat in Australia because he
Yeah,
would
that is sure.
wear
Like
you down.
I've seen players talk about Pujara the same way, but my point is the entire country, the entire media sitting and again, this is
Yeah,
out
that's
of cricket.
because
We're not talking about cricket ability, but my point
yeah,
is like Kohli's done a lot for India in
I
Australia
agree.
to just not be like we can't put him in a combined one. I'm
I'm
just
saying you're seeing this from a very like right now today in today's world. Yeah, you will hear a lot more because there is a lot more media. Back then, it wasn't the case.
media was
It's
there
not
from a
like
long time. Like
I
the
don't
newspaper
think,
traditional media has always been there,
bro.
Rahul.
I don't think even Sachin Tendulkar has been spoken about how Virat Kohli is talked about today in Australia because of the social media factor. If
It's not
it
I'm
was
not
not a
talking about social
Tendulkar,
media, I'm
it's
talking
not
about
like
Australian
it's not
traditional
like
media.
front pages were having Tendulkar with a crown on their picture and post like putting it out of their newspapers, right? That wasn't the case because it just didn't happen then. You're comparing two different eras. I have no problem in having Virat Kohli at number five. Although like I
Bro,
can't see a
I'm sorry, but
how
I
you could
can't also not have Steve Smith in this team. Like there are a lot of shouts. I think it's going to be very tough to pick a
yeah.
straightforward number three, number four, number five. Like I
I
don't think
wouldn't
it's
even
going.
mind like having a top six of you have Smith and Kohli and you play like you play a top six with Smith and Kohli and Ponting and Dravid and Tendulkar and Hayden.
So wait, like top six, that means we're gonna have, including a wicket keeper, we're gonna have four bowlers.
Yeah. So at number seven you play a keeper and then you play four bowlers.
Hmm.
And you hope Steve Smith can give you some experience.
Actually, Sachin can bowl, so
Sachin can
he.
bowl. So yeah, you have a
Okay,
fifth bowler.
okay. Just for the fact, I would rather have either Sachin, Virat, at number three. The thing is, I feel like I would have Sachin. I would have maybe would have Sachin at number three, Virat at number four,
I
or either ways, and then choose
I agree.
between someone else at number five.
I would have a traditional number three there. Either actually preferably Rahul Dravid, but
But we're
if he's
talking
going
about
to win the
talent. Like,
batting,
I would as a talent, I'd
Yeah,
rather have Virat Kohli in my team. I can't drop Virat Kohli for like a Dravid. I'm so sorry.
I'm not saying we should. That's what I'm saying. You play Ponting at 3. I think it just becomes too attacking. It becomes a little imbalanced. But if you want to go that way, you say Ponting at 3, and then you play Tendulkar at 4, and then you have Kohli and Smith to fall, or you have Smith slightly higher to give you that little like more traditional balance, and then you have like the more sort of flowy batters.
Are we
You know,
settled on Smith, Kohli? Because we have fair shouts for other batsmen also, like say a VVS Lakshman, say a Michael Clark. What about
no, I
them?
don't. So for me, just Clark in terms of longevity, I don't think he has it. I mean,
I think
I
Clark
don't.
longevity was still one of the youngest players to start for Australia, and he
He
played
did,
for a very long time.
but in terms of consistency and like he was number 5 weirdly, like, and he kind of stuck there for a long time. But I just don't think he had the impact that all these other guys did. Right? Like Clark still
Like,
decent number. Like he averages 49. But yeah, I just don't think he's had the impact as the others that we're talking about. 8,000 runs. If you compare it to like a Kohli or a Smith who are still going and have 9,000 runs over, going to hit the 10,000 mark.
But again,
Yeah,
we're talking about
it's
a
impressive.
combined 11 who would play. Isn't like a combined 11 who would play a game in Australia like tomorrow? That's the whole point, right? Like
Yeah,
you have
even
to
if it
look
is
at
that,
this.
if that's the case, I would still have Kohli and Smith over Clark, based on what I've seen, at least.
Clark, I
Just
I
from
mean,
the
remember
way.
one calendar year he had like five centuries, of which four of them were double centuries. And then I think that calendar year, I think he went to South Africa and scored hundreds. He scored hundreds against England that year. And I think that calendar year score of Michael Clark was the fifth highest or fourth highest any batsman has ever scored in a calendar
yeah,
year.
Yes,
yeah, I remember.
the only unfortunate thing I think for Michael Clark is he came at a time where the greats had gone or like were about to leave, and they had a rebuild pretty much. It like they
Now you were
had
literally just talking about how Dravid scored runs when every other player in the team weren't
no, but
performing. It's the same thing here.
Dravid played all his career with
I,
Tendulkar, with Lakshman, with Ganguly. Clark did have that, and I think that's why sometimes he's forgotten. That's what I'm saying.
I
I'm
think
not saying he's not a
Clark,
good player. I think he's a good player, but yeah,
I don't think people give Clark enough credit for like actually like transitioning or help transition that Australia team from your McGraths, from your Bretleys, from your Ponting, Damian Martin, Simon Catich, Justin Langer to a fully fresh team like that. This new brand of Australian team had your Chris Rogers, your young David Warner, your Michael Clark. You know, they had uh, who they also had Brad Haddon, and then the new crop of fast bowlers they had. There was the start of Nathan Lyon's career. It had Ryan Harris, Peter Siddle, a peak Mitch Johnson. I think he was the one who got that whole band together. And apparently there
mm,
were a lot of disagreements between Ponting and Clark when Ponting was in his last stands and Clark was supposed to take over, and then he managed to see the whole thing. And then that Mitch Johnson's Ashes series, I feel a lot of credit goes to how should go to how Michael Clark actually handled that team. Like how
who do you have him
like
over?
this one again. I was reading like I think Mitch Johnson was not initially cleared to bowl. He was not fit enough to play, and then so it was Michael Clark who pushed forward his case, and then said, okay, I'm not going to bowl him in long spells. I'm going to bowl him like 4 or 5 over spells where he
Short
can
burst.
come in and create chaos, and then like handle him like that. I feel that goes a little bit under the radar for Michael Clark.
But who do you have him over? Like, would you have him over either Smith or Kohli? Because I think that top 6 is looking solid.
See, again, I think I can't drop Kohli for like I'd rather drop someone like Steve Smith for Michael Clark, to be
I
honest.
think you can't drop Steve Smith either.
Smith,
56,
Exactly.
bro.
averages
That's
56.
also a very hard decision. Like you can't really drop.
Bro, he averages 56, and
Bro,
again,
the
like,
thing is, for me, I would rather drop Sehwag out of everyone here. Like, I think they're better talent to like for me to be able to drop Sehwag. Like, I would rather have maybe like Hayden and
Okay,
Ponting
guys,
opening.
I have a suggestion.
mm,
So Gilchrist who used to open the white ball cricket for Australia, used to play 6 down, 7 down for
Seven.
Australian
Yeah, back to
tests.
seven in tests. Yeah.
So I'm guessing you guys are not pushing forward anyone else's case. If you
No, I
are to
think
play
Rishabh Pant
Gilchrist
should be the wicket keeper. I think Rishabh Pant is the wicket keeper in this team.
over
Oh, bro.
Gilchrist,
Yeah, I
Over
think so.
Gilchrist, bro. That is
Yeah.
the bro. Oh my God.
Rahul, Rishabh Pant
Oh my
is a
God.
Bro, it's
watered
why,
down
I,
version
bro,
of
it's just
Adam
what,
Gilchrist. Gilchrist was Rishabh
bro,
Pant before Rishabh Pant, and that is
bro,
not like with good
bro.
cricketing.
This is the
bro, I
social media
agree. I
era, bro. This is the
agree. This is
social
not
media
just
era.
social media era. It's just, for me, I think, bro, Pant gives you something different. And
There is nothing. Gilchrist
Tell me,
gives
no,
bro,
Rahul, tell me
Gilchrist,
what does Pant give that Adam Gilchrist doesn't, except
exactly.
commentary behind the wicket.
bro, they're very similar to be fair, okay? But I
No,
think Pant,
no, no.
okay,
Gilchrist
They're just the only similarities. They're both aggressive. Adam Gilchrist is a textbook cricketer. He plays strokes that are in the
no, but
proper cricketing strokes.
okay,
and he's a
just
better
hear me
wicket
out.
keeper
Bro,
also.
Pant is on the
Yeah,
way to matching Gilchrist's like record.
Of
And,
what? Let me
in
okay,
Test
okay. Let me
cricket,
just compare Punt versus Gilchrist
they
right
have
now. Okay,
47 average, the other one has 44. Um,
exactly.
Gilchrist has a higher average. I obviously, right,
By
like he's
six
played more Test
points, it's
cricket
a
in
lot in
Australia.
test. Like
3 points. He's 44 and
six.
47.
No,
44 and
it's
47.
75 for Rishabh Pant in test cricket, and the strike rate of Adam Gilchrist is
Brother,
82.
why will I care about strike rate? I'm looking at averages. Why will I care about strike rate
you
in
were
this?
We
literally
were just talking
saying
about
Rishabh Pant is
scoring
beating
rate, and
Adam
you were telling
Gilchrist.
how they're similar.
No, I'm saying like he is aggressive, but I don't need him to go at bro 75, 81. I don't care. Like
It
honestly, it
does
doesn't
matter,
matter.
Rahul. Like having a
And to me,
point
it doesn't
six,
matter.
six
Bro,
point, it does in a test
today,
match. It can have a big
bro,
swing.
Hardik,
Like you have to take in that factor.
in today's world, when you have test matches ending at in 3 days, you don't. It doesn't matter if your strike rate is 75 or 81.
Okay,
No,
Rahul,
but
see,
it
Genuinely
matters
doesn't.
if you're comparing two players. Like at the end of the day, would you have a 81 strike rate with the better average versus a lower average and a lower strike rate?
No,
That's the
I
whole point.
think all I'm saying is Rishabh Pant is on the way to sort of becoming that kid.
Rahul,
I'm
like,
not saying
okay, see,
I'm
see,
I
There
would
if
is
I
no
would
if
not be.
guarantee.
you look at it through numbers, of course, Rishabh Pant is on his way to meet Gilchrist. But to be honest, we've watched a fair bit of Gilchrist. It's not like we haven't watched Gilchrist at all. We've watched a good chunk of his
Yeah,
cricketing
yeah,
career,
we have
and we've
for a
watched
long,
pretty
yeah,
much
for a
all of
while.
Rishabh Pant's cricketing career. And I have seen obvious flaws where he cannot bat against quicks, like world class quicks. He usually comes in scenarios where the ball is old, like he has to come in and kill the ball, or he has to come in and like he has to come in and push spinners. So I've seen that obvious Achilles heel, like for Rishabh Pant. On the other hand, Gilchrist is one of the most aesthetically pleasing cricketers. Like a left-hander, he's coming in and playing. He can play spin and he can play pace at the same time. Like you can't
Okay,
just
okay.
look past that obvious.
Bro, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying like Rishabh Pant is a better player than Gilchrist. I would have no problems in having Gilchrist in the team at all. I love Gilchrist as just as a player and like a person. I was just like, to me, I don't know. It's probably recency bias also. The impact that Rishabh Pant has had in Indian cricket in Australia is probably that too. But yeah, no problem having Gilchrist there. No. So if we are working through it, you're saying you play Gilchrist at the top.
Yeah, Gilchrist and Hayden at the top. Like they I mean they were the openers for Australian
Yeah,
white ball
but
cricket
but
for a
that
long time.
doesn't. Yeah, but that doesn't solve our problem of you have too many middle order batsmen.
No, I would
Yeah, so
actually I would have Ponting as an opener with Hayden. Like that's
Yeah, I
something
wouldn't
I
like
would.
Ponting and Hayden to open the batting either. Like Ponting and Hayden to open. You play Gilchrist at seven where he always plays. You have a solid number three in Rahul Dravid. You have Tendulkar, Smith, and Kohli, or
Bro, I
Kohli and Smith.
still can't put Dravid in this conversation. I'm sorry.
No, I can't believe we're having a conversation about this, but okay. Like I
Bro,
don't even
that's
know
just
what
for
to.
the fact that I would rather have Sachin Virat in the team. Like that's the sad part. Like I would rather have Steve Smith
I
over.
agree. I don't say such. I don't think Sachin and Virat should not be in the team. You have Sachin, Virat, Rahul Dravid, and Steve Smith. That's a solid four. And the thing with Dravid again
How are
is
you having all of
that
them? Are you saying
see,
Dravid
but
is
then,
number
but then
three?
if we do this,
yeah,
You're
we're
but
not. You're not going
compromising
to have
on our
them. Like
bowling.
huh?
yeah, you don't have. It's not possible
If
to
we're
have them because
if we're playing this, we're playing seven pure batters with one who can bowl leg spin. We're
Yeah,
having we're having pretty much four bowlers, of
yeah,
which three will be
exactly.
pace.
yeah.
Three
So
pacers
what?
and one full-time spinner and one part-time spinner.
Yeah, what's the issue with that? If we're
Hmm.
doing that
That is
today,
just to get in Rahul Dravid in the
how
conversation.
is that? Bro, the guy,
Bro, out of okay,
I don't
wait
even
for
know what
okay,
to
for
say.
example, let me
Mhm.
just put in some facts. Okay, Rahul
Yeah,
Dravid in Australia has an average of 41, right? Virat Kohli in Australia has an average of 54. Sachin in Australia has an average of 53, and obviously Steve Smith will have a higher average because he plays in Australia. But the fact is, like, there are players who perform in Australia much better than Dravid, and that's my whole point. I would rather have like Sachin and Virat coming after each other than have Dravid. Just for the sake of putting in Dravid, then have Sachin later, then Virat later. It just doesn't balance up the lineup. If you're talking about Australia, I still think Pujara has also performed better in Australia than like Dravid. So my whole point is like, if you're talking about a combined 11 for this thing, I would rather just have Sachin at number three and Virat at number four.
Virat Sachin at number three and Virat at number
Virat at
four.
number four.
No, I still think that there's no number three. That there is you're
I
playing without a
really feel like,
number three option.
bro, are you telling Sachin, one of the greatest cricketers ever, best batsman ever, to say he can't play number three and he can't play number three in a very good, efficient way? Like, I remember yesterday you were just saying how number three is very interchangeable. You can have Virat
Yeah, I
Kohli at
think
number
number
three.
threes, most number
It
threes
really
and number
doesn't
fours are
matter.
interchangeable as long as that profile of batsman is there in the team. So when you have
Yeah.
somebody
Okay.
like
So
us,
then
so I don't
would
see
you be
that profile
happy
of
with
batter in this team.
would
So
you be
I
happy
think
with
it's down
Virat
to
Kohli playing at number three?
I don't think Virat Kohli is a number three.
Yesterday itself, you were pushing for him playing number three for India. And you said that
In modern
he
day
should
cricket,
be able
because
to play
we
number
don't
three.
have a Pujara. When you don't have a Pujara, you don't have an option. Today, when you have the
Now,
option of,
I still think a player like Virat Kohli can. I don't need a player like Pujara if Virat is number three and Sachin is number four. That's my whole point.
I
I
think you
don't
do.
need.
So that's where we differ in opinion. I think you need a player like Pujara. You need that guy
When
who
I have a
just
batting
makes the
lineup,
play.
are you saying you need a player like Pujara when you have a batting lineup of, like, for example, Virat, Sachin, Smith, and then Gilchrist? Do you
I
really
think
need a Pujara in that
I
team?
think so.
For
Yeah,
what reason exactly?
to wear the bowlers down to make sure the
Are you
ball
saying
gets over
are
quickly
you
to
saying
us.
To be
Sachin?
honest, Smith can wear down
Smith can
bowlers
do the job.
as
Yeah,
good
Smith
as
can do
Bro,
the
anyone.
I
job.
feel
Like
like,
Yeah, Smith
bro,
can
I'm
do
sorry
the
to
job.
say, I feel like
That's
all
he's the
the
only
batsmen can
player.
do this job.
He's the
You
only
can wear
player
down a
who
bowler
can.
by playing the entire day. Sachin can do that. Virat can do that. Smith can do that. I'm not going to sit and
Dude,
say just
even
taking
if
hits is the only way to wear down bowlers, right? Like
okay,
you can
fine.
play
Okay,
them.
you guys want to if even if you're saying fine, like okay, if it is a if Smith does play at three and you have Virat Kohli at if Tendulkar is at four and Kohli is at five, Gilchrist at six, there is still not a way that Rahul Dravid doesn't make it into the team as an opener. Like he will definitely
No,
make it.
for
Yeah,
me, I would
him and
have.
Ponting
I'm
to
happy to
open.
have
Yeah,
Hayden and Ponting.
yeah, him
I'm
and
happy to have
Ponting to
Hayden and
open.
Ponting.
Why?
What about you, Rishi?
see, for me, I can't look past Ponting because he's the obvious captain.
But
Like
if you
for
have
me,
Virat Kohli in the team, why is Virat Kohli not the obvious
no,
captain?
the drop in like again, Virat Kohli, I think a great test captain, but
He's our
for
vice
me,
captain. He's our vice captain.
nobody matches Ricky Ponting. It's not even close. Like probably if Ganguly was there, I would have said okay, Ganguly can, but again, he's not in the conversation, so I don't think
Yeah,
anyone
Steve Smith
comes close
also.
to Ricky Ponting for in terms
Did
of
Ricky
captaincy.
Ponting ever win a Test series in India?
Ponting
Oh,
2010,
no,
2010,
No,
they didn't win. They didn't win.
they didn't win.
2010,
I don't think
2008.
Australia has won a Test series in India since like 1990s, if I'm not wrong.
No, da, they won. I'm
No, England
pretty
beat
sure
India
they.
in 2020,
England
2012.
is the only team that's won in India since the
Hmm.
2000s in a Test series, if I'm not wrong, right?
2000.
I, but see, bro, regardless. Okay, fine. Let's just get the bowlers out of the way. Um, so you're saying you want five bowlers?
To be honest, yeah, like four pacers, or again, yeah, if you have batting quality with like six proper
Okay.
batsmen, I think there's no problem in having. And
Who are your
I
okay?
don't think there's a conversation for all rounders. I don't think there are.
There
No,
are
the
no.
problem is, I think bowling will be a bigger issue than like batting because like such a limited spot for so many balls. I think I would have like
See, I think some pick themselves. I think Shane Warne picks himself. It's not hard to look past
Shane,
him. But
I think Shane Warne
I
and Glenn
think
McGrath, like,
Glenn McGrath picked themselves. Yeah, exactly. So
yeah.
you have two or three other bowling spots, bro. I think there's two bowling
Jazz
spots.
boom, guys, jazz
Bro, I
Yeah,
think
boom.
I would
100%
have.
Bumrah makes it.
Bro, Bumrah's for sure won't make it, but
Yeah,
I would
Bumrah is
rather
100% making it.
wait. But
What
I
do you
would
pick,
rather
Ritik?
have. I would rather have like one spinner, three bowlers, and seven batsmen. I think I would do that over like anything else.
That's exactly what I'm saying. I think you need
Hmm.
you have four bowlers who are quality, and you have a fifth bowler in Sachin if anybody needs a break. And you fill your top, you stack your batting,
Yeah.
and yeah, you have quality in both.
You know, yeah,
So, what's a batting lineup? Let's finish
If
that
that
and
is
then
the
go to.
case, if you do play, if you're playing seven, I think you have, even if you are Ponting and stop laughing, bro. But if you are Ponting and Aiden to open the batting, Rahul Dravid at three, Tendulkar at four, I think Smith at five and Kohli at six, Gilchrist at seven, and then you have the four bowlers. If you're yeah, and your four bowlers, you have Vaughan and McGrath, and you have two more spots, one of which I think probably India's most consistent bowler takes, and the other one I think is a toss up between the rest. I think is Brett Lee for me, but yeah,
Brett Lee or Pat Cummins.
I'd say Brett Lee. Same thing, very similar. Both of them give you a little bit of batting, but just for the pace factor, I think Brett Lee
Yeah,
because
like
McGrath going to do.
growing up,
McGrath's the
Brett
more
Lee was like the, I think, go-to pacer for anyone. Like, I grew up
yeah
wanting to bowl like
yeah.
Brett Lee.
Everybody who grew up
Yeah,
wanted to bowl and look like Brett Lee, but like yeah.
yeah, I swear. And then,
So
but like,
yeah,
do
I think Brett Lee
consider.
makes it, bro.
I think the you for me like a lot more of I feel what Brett Lee offers. I think Cummins also offers. Like, other than the unplayable Yorkers. Like, I feel Cummins gets the pace factor. He has the accuracy. Like, I feel Cummins has both McGrath and, like, Brett Lee combined.
My thing is, bro, you already have that in McGrath in the sense that you have that guy who's going to hit the same area a number of like how many ever times he wants, and he's going to get the outside edge at some point. Um, and for that reason, yeah, I think it'd be nice to have Brett Lee to complement that. And I don't know who your third seamer is. For me, my third seamer is just like a workhorse, bro, like insane. You can bowl him any point. For me, it's Jasprit Bumrah, but yeah, we can discuss that. So we're having we're definitely having McGrath and Vaughan,
Lee and
and
Vaughn. Yeah,
so
fair enough.
your fourth bowler is are there any shots? I don't see anybody other than Bumrah. At least from an Indian perspective, there's nobody who has been it's his third BGT. No, this time. I don't think there's a lot of Indian players who've gone to Australia thrice, apart from Zahir.
Ishan Sharma, I think, is the only other
Yeah,
guy.
Ishant Sharma comes from yeah, fair to him. He was there. Was 2015. Can't remember. 2012, yeah, 11, 12, he was there. 15, I don't think
Ishan
he was
Sharma is the
there.
only guy who's been there. He was there even in 2018, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, but I think why I feel like 15 he missed. But anyways, yeah, Ishant Sharma probably the other one.
But the problem if
Maybe
you're
well,
playing in Australia, I'd rather just have like again if
all
it
Australia.
is a combined 11 playing in Australia, I would rather have an Australian bowling lineup just for the fact that having tall pacers who can have pure pace and ball, proper short balls. I'd rather have that over. Like if I have to have the three bowlers, I'd just rather have that and suffocate each and every batsman coming into playing us, right? So
Like,
that's the
exactly, like that's
That's not a bad
even
shot.
I was thinking the same thing. Like, I was thinking, okay, maybe the third bowler can be Mitchell Johnson,
Cummins.
someone like Mitchell Johnson, or
No, but you already have a Brett Lee, so probably go Cummins itself.
but I would go for Stark just for the fact that
Okay, probably the
Stark
left
gives me
arm
something
option. Fine.
different. I feel
Yeah,
like
probably.
with
Yeah,
the
he
new
does
ball
give you something
especially,
different.
he gives me something different and I think playing Stark left arm, like it's just
Yeah,
I think him and McGrath would be like an
yeah.
unstoppable force to
No,
start with.
I don't mind Stark either, dude. Like, 'cause he gives you that left arm option and Prime, like, in the better parts of his career, I think Stark was unplayable. So, happy with that. Stark, McGrath, Vaughan, and League. Okay, this is insane because I think there are 3 Indian players who made it. Um, as sad as it
I mean, you
is,
can't pretty much help
yeah,
it. Like they've dominated Test
they
cricket for
have,
so
they
long.
have, they did. So to be fair to them, yeah, it is fair play to Australia. That is our combined 11. Then, guys, all-time India and Australia, 8 Australian players
Wait,
and
what is
3.
it? I'm still not aware of what
So
our
yeah,
combined.
I'll give you the
Wait.
order.
So the opening is Ganguly and Hayden. One down is
Ganguly.
Ponting.
Where did this
Ganguly,
guy
what?
get Ganguly?
Ponting. Two down is Sachin. Three down is
Ganguly, wait.
yeah. We needed a captaincy material who actually opened, who
Yeah,
was also
no,
good.
he randomly yes, opening bats. Ponting and Hayden slash Vero, I think, deserve a mention. Number 3 and 4, I think the best 3 and 4 Indian cricketers ever seen in Tendulkar and Dravid.
Virat and Sachin.
Smith and Virat 5 and 6, play them however you want. I think Smith at 5 just for
Bro,
that little
no
number.
ways you're playing Smith and Virat 5 and 6. That's just a waste of them even playing in the team, I
I
feel like.
really don't think so. I think yeah, I don't think that really.
Bro, I'm sorry. I would actually
In
have Clark in my team as a number 6 or 5 over like playing Virat at or Smith at number 5, number 6. You know what I mean?
sometimes when you have to get the best in together, you have to make
Clark
some.
is the best in his position at that point of. I feel like Clark was one of the best in his prime. I think he was one of the best players to play in his position. And he's a guy who has triple centuries and all, and like continuously, if I'm not wrong, in the same year or something like that. So I
Yeah,
think like
no,
he
he scored a 300 against us in Sydney. I remember that.
Shout out to Michael Clark, VVS Lakshman, Saurav Ganguly, of course, the other top players in that middle order. Um, 7 is Adam Gilchrist. I think yeah, we spoke about it, but shout out to Rishabh Pant also. 8, 9, 10, 11, all Aussie.
What about
McGrath,
MSD, bro? Rishi, I didn't like get any MSG shouts today. How come?
bro, I thought he was going to
Bro,
at least mention him once, but yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
you directly
I'm
went to
glad you
Rishabh Pant and
recognized.
Gilchrist. Like
in an ideal world, my captain, my Tala Dhoni captains
this
everything
is
in
an
my team.
ideal world, Rishi. This we are
Thank
talking about an
God.
ideal world where we can
Thank
pick our
God I'm
players.
Nah, man, nah, it's okay. Australia were gifted with all these talented players. Ponting had his work cut out, unfortunately. My Dhoni
But
was
if you
not
have
there.
the best captain in the world in the history of cricket, why would you even need anyone else?
True, I don't mind. I don't mind putting Dhoni instead of Gilchrist. Nah, kidding, guys. I don't think he was
really
Dhoni is a
good.
proper test player as such.
Fair enough.
Oh.
And then the first for Aussies, obviously, Lee, Vaughan, McGrath, and yeah, Stark is what we decided on. So that's that, guys. Thanks so much for watching. It's been a fun all-time India Australia combined 11 for a game in Australia. Obviously, this is. Please like and share the video. Subscribe to Sports Kabri. I will see you soon. Bye.